fuel switch locks on Boeing planes are safe.
They've been quick to rush into analysis that this is the pilot error, human error, so on and so forth. This report is something that the country's been waiting for.
The first report of the AI-171 Ahmedabad plane crash is out. The whole nation was waiting for AAIB's preliminary report. The questions were many, but even after the report is made public, a lot has still been unanswered. Now DGCA has ordered inspection of fuel control switches on various Boeing aircraft. The DGCA has set July 21st as the deadline for inspections. In fact, rather than answering the existing questions, the report seems to have raised new ones. Within seconds, a normal flight from Ahmedabad to London turned into one of the biggest aviation disasters of India's history. At 1:38 p.m., 39 seconds, the aircraft lifts off. Then 3 seconds later, it reaches its highest speed, 180 knots. Immediately thereafter, Engine 1 and Engine 2 fuel cutoff switches transitioned from run to cutoff. This happened within a second. One of the pilots asked, "Why did you cut off?" The other said, "I did not." Now, who asked the question and who answered? That is not mentioned in the first report. Many have now pointed at pilot error, but the report does not clearly state that pilots cut off the fuel to the engines. Run to cut off. But how? That still remains mystery. These are the switches that regulate fuel flow to aircraft's engines. These are also used to manually shut down or restart engines if an engine failure occurs during the flight. On the Boeing 787, these fuel control switches are located just below the thrust levers. Now, after the first report, there's one big question that arises. Can the switches accidentally be turned from run to cutoff?
Fuel switches, it is not a machine. It is not something which can be done in a fraction of seconds. There is a mechanism by which you pull it out, and it is always done when you are when you're coming to the end of the flight. And in between the flight, it can only be done when there is one or the other engine develops some kind of snag, and which can cause some kind of either imbalance to the gravity of the aircraft, or otherwise a fire or some kind of unfortunate incident.
With this crash and the much awaited report, eyes are on the fuel switch locks. How safe is this technology? Does this function properly? Well, the Dreamliner manufacturer Boeing claims everything works fine. Not just Boeing. US Federal Aviation Administration also claims the same. Reportedly, both have privately issued notifications that fuel switch locks on Boeing planes are safe. This comes after the Ahmedabad crash first investigation report was made public. Though the manufacturer claims all is good, the carriers are concerned. Etihad Airways ordered an inspection on fuel switches across its Boeing 787 fleet. It has reportedly asked its pilots to be cautious while operating the fuel switches on these aircraft. In 2018, FAA issued a special airworthiness information bulletin. This bulletin was regarding the potential disengagement of the fuel switch locking feature in some of the Boeing models. Now, many aviation experts have raised pointed questions as the report has been released.
Why did the report come out at 2 a.m. in the morning when the aircraft is Indian? 200 passengers were perished in the crash are Indian, 54 are British nationals. It is close of business for the UK, but you're releasing it at 2 a.m. for the American audience. That does not make sense at all.
The DGCA, the regulator, is under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. The AAIB is under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. The Airports Authority of India is under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. We need to have an independent accident investigation board, which is directly funded by Parliament, not under any ministry.
Okay.
Similarly, we need to have a civil aviation authority that is completely independent of any ministry.
One must not forget the fact that it was necessary for AAIB to release the first report within a month. That's the deadline. The report is not at all conclusive, so one can't just jump onto the final result with a 15-page preliminary investigation report. Undoubtedly, the opinions were divided after the tragic incident. But after the report, if you believe experts and commentators, this divide has only deepened.